Hello, my name is Kinyanjui, and I am a communications and regulatory specialist in the technology space in Africa. This year, the theme for the International Day for Universal Access to Information is Artificial Intelligence, E-Governance, and Access to Information, which is a critical area for focus as Africa starts to embark on its journey towards embedding AI tools into its ecosystems. In line with that theme, today I'd like to speak about what transformational and ethical leadership looks like in this new AI world, and in particular, examine what the implications are for this space for Africa. But before I go into some thoughts around the topic, I would like to cover some of the highlights we've seen over the last year, particularly when it comes to AI use in Africa. Over the last year, we've seen a marked increase in AI investments across the continent, which has been supported by similar initiatives that aim to embed AI into the emerging African digital ecosystems. In their latest report on AI trends, PwC has indicated that AI will boost African economies by contributing up to 5% to their GDPs in coming years. According to news reports, a total of $500 million has been invested in over 120 companies across Africa. And this has doubled since the amounts that were seen invested in this space 2 years ago. This rapid increase in investment is supported by a growing number of companies that are dedicated to deepening their focus on AI, whether it's by deploying technology solutions or by hiring additional talent in the area. For the last few years, several experts have come to the consensus that the 5 big levers for AI in Africa will be the financial services, agriculture, education, health, and public service sectors. The good news is that there are several tangible use cases for AI already emerging across the continent in all of these areas. For instance, in financial services, AI is being deployed by banks and financial institutions across Africa to create more personalized financial solutions by enhancing customer profiling. It's also deepening customer care initiatives by automating responses in real time or by developing unique automations that can actually identify and flag potentially fraudulent activity. In health, African companies are beginning to use AI to support diagnosis by tracking variation in trends for various regions. In South Africa, for instance, AI-powered software that is designed to optimize radiation on oncology, which is part of the cancer treatment that kills cancer cells, is ongoing. The software is designed to reduce the planning time it takes before a patient can actually start radiation therapy. So across Africa, we're seeing various initiatives that are underway to enhance pandemic monitoring and identification. And AI is definitely supporting this by providing an early warning system that picks up on trends in health indicators that may not necessarily be immediately noticeable by human monitors, and this is particularly important in a post-pandemic world. AI then is able to digitize functions that may not have been traditionally well resourced and allows countries in Africa to actually tap into global hives of information as and when required. And while at the moment AI seems to have the biggest traction in Africa's big 4 markets, which is Egypt, South Africa, Nigeria, and Kenya, fairly even growth and uptake has been seen in other markets as well. But with growth comes challenges, and through challenges, new opportunities to build solutions. And currently, the biggest barrier to growth for AI in Africa is the lack of specialized talent in AI skills and the increasingly fragmented data governance and privacy regimes. Both these issues will seem familiar, as they tend to define the growth of any new technology as it emerges in Africa. Just a handful of countries at this time have moved to embed AI policymaking into their digital strategies, despite the fact that more advanced markets and companies are increasingly turning to Africa to mine data and to test AI use cases. This means that any anticipated economic transformation dividend expected from AI is likely to be diluted by the fact that African economies may not have the adequate mechanisms in place to safeguard both the use of their citizens' data and its application. Data is AI's lifeblood. The more data that is available, the better and more effective the AI tools will be. However, across sub-Saharan Africa, access and protections for data remain limited. At a more global level, the lack of these protections run the risk of creating a bigger delta between a connected Africa and the rest of the world. If the only African data available is not safeguarded or is placed into AI systems that are heavily skewed towards long-established platforms that have already built their own platforms and data for the rest of the world, then AI's proposition for Africa will immediately start to be disadvantaged. In this manner, many of the historical tech issues that we have seen in the continent may start to delay or frustrate the rollout of AI across the continent. The good news is that a great number of the AI tools being developed in Africa are actually for Africa. in that they adapt to the unique needs of each territory. In the case of Google, for instance, the company has set up an AI research center in Ghana, which creates dedicated solutions to African problems using AI research and its applications. And when it comes to talent, which has also been a traditional area of challenge for the tech sector in Africa, there has been a number of positive interventions across the continent, particularly for AI, that are quite notable. According to the recent State of AI Report in Africa report, there are over 30 AI or deep tech communities already existing on the continent, which provide students, entrepreneurs, and job seekers with a growing range of programs which aim to support the creation of AI and deep tech solutions. So then that brings us to what this means for the general public. We've already seen that big data and AI are guiding the development of several interventions that impact our lives at a very personal level. It's virtually impossible to interact with any major online tool or service without having to have interactions with an AI component in some way, shape, or form. But in line with the Sustainable Development Goal number 16, which seeks to promote peaceful and inclusive societies, ensuring public access to AI tools and information will demand a critical look at how companies are acting to ensure that AI creates more inclusive technologies for good. It is therefore fair to conclude that the real dividend of this transformative technology will be measured on how it is ethically and inclusively deployed across Africa. Thank you for listening, and I wish you fruitful discussions.